Welcome to the Creative Warriors Podcast, the female heart and soul of photography. We are beginning our Series 1 with a brief overview of the goals and hopes of this new podcast series. We will highlight the journey of female photographers and creatives through a series of interviews. We will focus on our unique perspectives, overcoming our inner battles, and how we can and have learned to let our hearts motivate our work. My name is Ariel. I will be hosting. I saw a gap in the podcast market for an open, casual conversation about photography for women and the other issues that women creatives face. The key topics will include things like our inner voice, how do we be mindful, slowing ourselves down, having balance in our lives, getting paid for our work, overcoming creative blockers that we all face at times, time management, and our struggles as female photographers. We won't be focusing on gear, on camera settings, or post-processing. We will be focusing on the heart behind our work. Through these interviews, I want to create a platform for female photographers to share their insights and experiences and to inspire other women to approach more mindful and heart-centered photography. In the community we serve as creative warriors, female photographers in all genres of photography. These discussions will also benefit women in other creative fields, since we all share similar inner wars in our hearts and our minds. There are many inner roadblocks that women face. Art requires us to be profoundly vulnerable. We need to share our heart. We need to have the self-confidence, and the pressure to produce impactful images can be a lot for us. I want to help women tap into that inner self and be supported as they do. This will allow us to connect with our subjects in a much more profound way, allowing more female artists to share themselves more creatively and authentically. That, for me, is a huge win-win. I was recently on a workshop with a group of female photographers, and something interesting happened. This one photographer in particular, she stood out to me. She was not trusting herself. She kept asking questions like, I don't know, which one is better? Is this good enough? Not trusting her own opinion. But the thing that amazed me the most is she produced probably the most impactful photograph that I saw come from the attendees, at least to me personally. That made me think how many women that have been in my life that have that same lack of confidence, that feel like there's nothing good enough, that they just can't succeed. But I've also met many warriors who feel those feelings but do it anyway. They achieve and they continue to fight that inner war. These are the women that I hope to bring to you. One of the things I've learned in my life is that kind of negative thinking is really poisonous to the creative soul. So here we want to help all of us learn how to work beyond them. I will be interviewing female photographers passionate about their craft, and we hope to explore the intersection of creativity and emotion in our work as women photographers, to share insights and experiences to inspire other women to approach their photography more heartful and heart-centered. The format will be simple yet flexible to bring you the best short, content-filled podcast. I want to give you a session a week, but in bite-sized pieces. Through a series of a short 10 to 15-minute interview segment, I aim to inspire and encourage all creative women facing similar challenges in their pursuit and to create a platform for female photographers to share their experiences, insight, and advice with one another. Sharing personal experiences and strategies for overcoming obstacles can be a very powerful tool for encouragement and growth. I chose the podcast format over a video channel for one very important reason. Like most working women, wives, partners, mothers, daughters, we live hectic lives. And to sit and watch a long video is a luxury, at least for me. It's very hard to maintain. And I do feel compelled to watch a video. It never works for me to play them while multitasking, since I inevitably stop and want to see what is being illustrated visually. since we are visual creatures. That is the key to visual understanding, is to seeing. So this podcast is not about composition, f-stop, gear, software. It's about what's happening inside our heads and our hearts before and after we hit that shutter button or even open our editing software. This is about the mind and the heart. As a working professional, I believe this podcast method will be more accessible to busy women, and the podcast will bring information to a broader audience of women creatives. If you enjoy the Creative Warrior podcast, the female heart and soul of photography, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you. Since this is the welcome episode, and I really wanted you to know why I'm hosting this, I thought I would tell you a little bit about myself. Photography is a way to share the beauty of creation for me. It's also a way to share my heart and soul and the collections of all my life's journeys into a single moment. It is a way to touch another person's heart and give them peace in a troubled world. I also find it a personal therapy. For me personally, as a deeply rooted spiritual person, I see it as a way of giving glory to the incredible designer behind the beauty, and to help others to see the beauty that surrounds them. I have been a self-employed professional in the design industry for over 30 years, although it's a very different creative focus on traditional building design, but many of the design principles are the same. My experiences have been rich and diverse. I have taught many technical aspects of using software to accomplish visual drawings, to communicate from design to construction. I have helped many see the beauty in the details, the impact of proportion, and the meaning of their work. In 2018, I was commissioned to write, illustrate, photograph, and then publish 2 books on the patterns of new traditional design in a very specific community. And that helped explain the criteria visually in a regulated community, showing the patterns that existed in various historic districts and historic designs. The intent was to inspire sound design principles in a local building community. For me, that began the jump from the point-and-shoot camera, the one on my phone, to my first DSLR, which then I moved to mirrorless shortly after. But after completing the project while COVID hit and our limitations were tested beyond our very beings, I began taking online watercolor classes to stay sane and then to take photographs as subjects that I was going to then paint. Then I learned that I could learn to paint with pixels. I was now given the gift of photography. That's when I began to pursue photography for the past few years. When we have clients that adore our work and that want them in their spaces, both living and work environments, that's a good feeling. And then there is our service to the photography community. For me, this podcast is my give back. I still have much to learn in the fine art market, but I believe in the stay an amateur thinking. I think it balances our mental health. I work with the Out of Chicago Photography Conference team on web management, design, blog development, and assist behind the scenes for conferences. This has also allowed me to peek into the professional female world of diverse female photographers, all who struggle with inner wars but prevail and win battle after battle. These are the women I hope to talk with and share with my audience here. On a personal note, what experience do I have with struggles, and why do I find this important enough that I wanted to start this podcast? Well, just to give you a little brief overview, I was raised in a very typical dysfunctional family filled with addictive behaviors, mental health issues, and as a teenager, I personally developed depression and had to learn how to overcome PTSD and eating disorders. I've raised 4 children on my own in several different marriages, dealt with betrayal, abusive treatment, and losses. I understand deeply the inner wars many women have and what it takes to say no to the lies that our minds might be filled with. All the while, creativity is part of my being. Creation and being in nature is my happy place. Impressionistic work fills my heart because it shares the essence of an image, not all the details. To me, it feels quieter. As a female photographer who has overcome personal challenges in pursuit of her craft, I will be speaking with other women who have pushed through these obstacles, self-doubt, fear, to achieve their goals in photography and other creative pursuits. Women who are dedicated to sharing their unique perspectives with the world, to gain insight into the mindset of the woman in photography, whom I will lovingly refer to as creative warriors. I want these talks to be real, casual, helpful, honest, and even humorous. Since life has many sides, why not be honest about them all? During the interviews, I would like to explore the following topics. I would really like the photographers to feel free to share personal experiences, to illustrate stories that illustrate the challenges and obstacles that they've overcome. How have they overcome self-doubt and fear? That's a big one for a lot of us. And what advice do they have for any women who's struggling to pursue their passion? And what is the role of intuition and emotion that they have in capturing the beauty and the complexity of their photography? What is the importance of self-reflection and mindfulness in their creative process? Do they have any advice for other women looking to cultivate a deeper emotional connection with their photography? And do they have any techniques to stay motivated and focused? The long-term goals of being a photographer. Those are just a few of the many topics. We hope that you will join us. Next week I have a very exciting guest. I can't wait to bring her to you. She's an extremely talented photographer. Recently, somebody in a different platform said she was one of the most creative, intelligent women that they have ever met, which I thought was a really interesting perspective on her. She's an amazing person. I can't wait to bring her to you, and you have to come back next week to find out who she is. If you enjoyed this podcast, The Creative Warriors, the female heart and soul of photography, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. You can contact me with topics you'd like to hear about, or if there's a photographer that you would like me to reach out to possibly interview. Thank you for listening to the Creative Warriors podcast, the female heart and soul of photography. See you next episode.